back to my channel. Happy New Year! I'm so excited to open up this new chapter and see what all is to come on this YouTube journey. And we just hit 1,000 views on my last video, so amazing job to everybody who watched it. And I just really appreciate it. It seems like my yoga and workout videos seem to be pretty popular, so I'll definitely be posting more of those because I really enjoy making them. And let's get into today's video. Today's video is titled The Truth About New Year's, and we're just going to be breaking down why I don't like New Year's. As strange as that sounds, it's not entirely true, but I have my reasoning. So, as some of you might have noticed, I haven't posted in a while. So I went on winter break, and then, I posted before Christmas to get in some videos so you guys had something to watch, and then going into after New Year's, I didn't post anything because I was really thinking about this video particularly. Why? Well, because I've really been thinking about how I really wanted to put a lot of time and attention into the concept of this video without coming across passive aggressive or like I'm trying to push some sort of idea that something's wrong with the holiday, when really I just think something's wrong with the overall concept of resolutions. So let's get into the first subject. Okay, so our first topic today is resolutions are not sustainable. Okay, so let's break that down. What do I mean by not sustainable? What I mean is that over a long period of time, resolutions are usually the things that kind of go to the back of our memory, sit in the back of our mind. We continue to gain the weight, we continue to have the unbalanced diets, and we continue to have superficial relationships with people that we could really have great in-depth relationships with. So why do I bring this up? Because I've noticed it within myself. I have these goals. I'm gonna run a marathon this year. I'm gonna do this year. I'm gonna do whatever this year. I'm gonna read an entire library this year. Doesn't happen. So what I really like about resolutions, before I completely tear them apart, is the idea of change. But what I don't like about them is the stagnancy that it leaves people with. So, you set yourself up for the expectation that because, it's no longer New Year's Eve, which was literally last night, and now it's New Year's Day, you have to begin some new fruitful journey and turn into another person almost overnight. It's so unrealistic, and it's really harmful to people who are still fairly young, and this idea is kind of being normalized, that we are all just supposed to magically change and become better people overnight. Now I know that's not everyone's truth, but from the perspective of somebody who's experienced New Year's from the lens of a critical thinking point of view, and the point of view that hasn't always been critical thinking, because with age and maturity I've developed some of these perspectives, but earlier on I always just felt like this inclination or obligation to just change right off the bat after literally just 24 hours because the ball dropped in New York. Now that may sound extreme to some of you out there, but I really relate to the perspective that a resolution is somehow some sort of almost thesis statement about how the rest of my life is going to turn out for the year. And I just don't like that, because, and this is my second point, why are we waiting for the new year to change? You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing some relationships with some people in my life change after some of the new year, and more contact and more communication and more whatever. So, they did that when it was convenient for them in their life, but what about on the day-to-day when I needed that type of communication and contact and in-depth conversation? So, are we changing out of convenience for ourselves? Are we changing because of circumstance? Are we just, changing because everybody else is changing? Whatever the reason may be, I think it's really worth analyzing why a resolution is just not that sustainable. Because you're setting a goal for yourself because you've been told, not even told, because you're experiencing, because New Year's is a thing. It is 2023 now. You're experiencing this new life change, and you somehow think that, wow, now I need to be this whatever person who decided to go on a holistic health journey, and this person who became vegan, and wow, now I need to lock my hair, and No, what you need to do is sit with yourself and really analyze why it is that after 365 days, you decided that on this day, I'm going to change who it is that I am. And I'm going to try to alter everything that I did not like about myself the previous year, right here, right now, in one resolution, or 2 or 5 or 25, whatever. That to me is just not sustainable when it comes to self-development. Now, you want to talk about a resolution such as a hobby. I picked up roller skating. That was one of my resolutions. Now, when we talk about that being sustainable, did I always want roller skates? No. Did I just kind of want them for a Christmas gift and then eventually that then became a hobby? Yes. So when we talk about sustainability, it's not so much that you just can't have a resolution. You can't enjoy the holiday. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is your resolution doesn't need to necessarily mirror your future self-growth in such an intense and impactful way, so that you're not so tied to the idea that if you do or don't succeed at this resolution, you're somehow lacking in life and you're somehow wound up always feeling incomplete. So, let's just break down some of the stereotypes here. So moving on to my third topic, which is that your potential is determined by your daily choices and not your future outcomes. Because, like I said, you have 365 days of self-improvement underneath your belt from all the years and all the New Year's you've had since before 2023. So why are we waiting until 2023, 2020, 2022, whatever the year was, to really look back and say, oh, okay, maybe I can do this differently? To me personally, I feel like there is a degree of selfishness in that, especially if the changes that you're making are going to be used to benefit your relationships with others. So that's one part of it, right? It's one piece of the puzzle. So let's say you're working on your communication skills with your spouse, your friends, your family. You decide to change after 365 days of the year. Well, guess what? It would have been nice if you communicated with your sister a little better the week you were having the argument and not the year following. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be such a broad thing. We can really just break it down into logic. Like, what are really the optics of you setting a standard for yourself going into the start of a new year, as much as you're going to change over the course of a year, and then somehow that's supposed to determine, your future flaws and character developments. I mean, it feels really unrealistic in my opinion. So from a intuitive standpoint, really try to think about it in a way that not only benefits you, but benefits the people around you. So, we talk about communication skills. Maybe that's something that benefits somebody else. Let's talk about something that benefits you as a person. So, exercising more. All that time that you kept putting off exercising, that's just more weight or either more dietary plans you're going to then have to create to reverse the either the extra weight or the acne or whatever came along with your lack of good diet and exercise or stress or whatever, You're going to have to combat all of that at some point, but to leave it all in yourself at the beginning of a new year, beginning of a new journey, you're like, here you go, future self. Take care of what I messed up for the last 365 days. That's a lot of pressure. And that takes a lot of time to really sit down and work through all the neurons in your brain to find some sort of equation that's going to compute success from 365 days of what could have been failure and struggle and possibly even triumph, and just come up with something that's none of those things at all in one day. It's just not sustainable. So what's the purpose of the video then? So what am I pushing? What am I suggesting then? We can't have a resolution that's not something fun, something temporary like a hobby or whatnot. You can't have something that's going to be life-altering or character-defining, because that applies too much pressure to your psyche. You can't have all of these balls that you're trying to juggle at once. So what do you do then, Malia? Well, here's what you do. You sit down and you sit with yourself and you accept the fact that New Year's is not the day that you're going to change. You accept the fact that every single day you have a responsibility to have a degree of integrity and dignity, and to just be accepting enough of your circumstances and satisfied enough with your life that you don't constantly feel the need to postpone the things that are really character defining, like exercise, mental health, activities that are improving, like maybe you need to go out more with friends, maybe you need to read more books because you're a very closed-minded person, maybe you need to have more discussions with people about differences in beliefs because you are not very well rounded when it comes to your education and politics or whatever. It just analyze it for yourself, figure out what that is that you need to change, and then find a little way every single day to work towards that goal. And then before you know it, by the end of the month, you've built a habit. And then a habit becomes a routine, and then a routine becomes a lifestyle. So take it in bits and chunks and pieces, but do not force yourself into a new beginning that you are not prepared to welcome, and then somehow justify your lack of self-growth or justify your growth by saying, oh, well, it's a new year. No, whatever change in your mindset you get when you see that there's going to be a new day, when you see that the sun is rising again, when your phone tells you it's 12 a.m., apply that every single time you wake up. Every single time you interact with somebody. It takes a degree of mindfulness, it does, a degree of maturity, a degree of intuition and self-awareness to know that these are the things that I need to work on every single day, especially if you struggle with mental health. No, it's not going to be, I'm going to start taking my medication for whatever mental health problem I may be having on New Year's, and I'm going to be a lot more consistent. No. Every day is an opportunity to take care of yourself. And in my belief system, not every single day is promised. So why is it that we're waiting for an opportunity to present itself? Our potential cannot be determined by future outcomes. And that's the point I really want to stress in this video, is that your opportunities in this life are being determined minute by minute, second by second. And in my beliefs, I'm a very spiritual person, not in the religious sense, but in the kind of fate and destiny sense. I believe that your fate tests you all the time. A car accident, a relationship comes into your life. I don't even know, maybe finishing a book, but all these new things that we're learning and consuming, and things that are changing the ways that we think, feel, and experience emotions and have interactions with people, will inevitably, in my opinion, affect our fate in this life, because then we make different decisions. You become a more open-minded person, you make a different group of friends, you take a new job in a different state, you meet somebody you might end up marrying and having kids with. All of these things, to me, take us on this pathway that then leads us to our inherent destiny. But that's just because I do believe that there's a plan for all of our lives. And like I said, not necessarily for religious reasons, but I think that everybody's life has some sense of purpose and meaning, and we are all here for something either greater or just, regular or sometimes evil, but you know what I mean? It's like, we don't need to get so caught up in all of that as much. It's just this constant day-to-day battle of deciding what we want for ourselves, finding the path to get there, and taking the daily steps and doing the daily routine things that we know are going to help us accomplish our goals. So as an influencer, I feel like, as controversial as I thought maybe this video would be, I finally pushed myself to make this video, because I'm like, look, I haven't seen this perspective anywhere. I've had conversations with friends about this before, and, I've been the one to bring it up, of course, because it's kind of an unorthodox way of thinking about the holiday, seeing that, it's a celebratory thing still. And I just wanted to publicize my opinion on this. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Of course, be nice now, but just, how do you feel about this approach to being more patient with yourself? And how do you feel about pacing out your goals and habits over the course of the year? Or are there some of you who are more successful by simply just going all in on the one day and saying, these are going to be all my changes for the next 365 days? But like, I just hit my 4-year mark for being a pescatarian. So as of 4 years ago, I was saying, hey, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to drop meat. I'm going to drop dairy. I'm going to, so I made this huge lifestyle shift as well. And it was at the beginning of the new year. So in a way, I kind of defeat the odds of what would normally be a sustainable goal. But you know, seeing that that's something that I focused on just a little bit every day, resisting the urge and slowly changing my meal habits and everything, it did work and I found success. So I would love to know you all's experiences. I would love to see what it is that you all are doing and what it is that maybe some of your resolutions were. But one thing I do really want to hear is that you're treating yourself with kindness in this process and developing this new journey in life, and you're accepting that, you know, as much as we want to be these new people, we're still the people we were 6, 7, 8, 9 days ago that the New Year's was. So let's just try to remember to sometimes, you know, humble ourselves and say that it's okay to be normal sometimes. It's okay to wake up and not have this extremely rigorous routine or to constantly be busy. It's okay to sometimes just lay in the bed and feel the wave of normality and be okay with who we were and not be so fixated with who it is that we are trying to be. So I hope that resonates with somebody today, and as contradictory as it may sound, Happy New Year and good luck to you on this journey. Don't forget to stay mindful hippies. Love you.